We're live.
I love my little fishes as they swim about their home. I love my little fishes as they swim about their home. When the sunlight shines upon them and their colors begin to glow, I am drawn into a world where my heart longs to go. I imagine scenes of beauty and feel the warmth of love. I love my little fishes as they swim about their home. I have traveled the world over, but never found a peace that comes from watching my fishes as they swim about their home. My heart is happy and I am content to sit and watch them swim. I will not be alone while these fishies are in my home. When the sunlight shines upon them and their colors begin to glow, I am drawn into a world where my heart longs to go. I imagine scenes of beauty and feel the warmth of love. I love my little fishes as they swim about their home.
I love that song, guys. And I don't see Father Fish. I think we lost him. Uh-oh. Can you still hear me, Father Fish? Yeah, we've been having a lot of technical difficulties today. It's just his turn now. Because, yeah, I've definitely had a day of it with webcams. So how's everybody doing? I see Rob, Hunter Does Stuff, Anthony, Tarna BJ. We've got a bunch of people in here tonight. Don't worry, he'll be right back on. How's everybody doing tonight? You guys do anything fun over the weekends? Don't worry, Super Sunfish. Father Fish will be back. It's just a few technical difficulties. You can't have a live stream without them. Yeah, I've had a pretty good weekend. Got out, caught some tadpoles, super tiny ones. No clue what kind they are. And I think we got Father Fish back. Yep, I think he's back. He's back. It's not a live stream until we have technical difficulties.
My foot hit the plug again. I really need to move my processor. It sits on the floor, and when I stretch my foot out, it hits the plug, the power plug, no less.
Oh, no.
Which knocks it off, shuts it down, and then I got to restart everything. It wanted my birth date. It wanted the name and address of my third born child. I only have one. It wanted my great grandparents' maiden name. It asked me for things that only some arcane historian would have any knowledge of. So I kicked it once and it came up. And here we are.
You gotta love technology.
Back again. All right. Lord. Hi, guys. Nice to be here.
Yeah, it is.
On my face. Good to see you all.
It's good to see you too.
I'm here. We're up. Everything's more or less working. Hard to imagine. Okay. Rob's here. Ken Kazarowski. Smoked some ribs. Ooh, ooh. Hunter Does Stuff. House of Pisces. Jenny Cole. Ben Sharp. Hi, Ben. Haven't seen you in a while. OC Urban Gardener. Kalari. Nice to see you all. Hello, everybody. We got 50 people in the house. We're cooking.
Awesome.
Cooking. Rob, good to see you too. I'm going to make an effort to stay. Oh, mercy. I was going to fill the, excuse me. I was going to fill the tanks.
Mhm.
And then I had to make soup. And by the time I got finished making soup, it was too late to fill the tanks.
I know how that goes. You can look back at, well, it's reversed, but you can look at that tank there, the one behind me. I meant to fill it up, got busy cooking, slipped my mind.
What plants do people used to use in tanks?
That's a good question.
Anacaris and Kabamba.
Mhm.
Those are families of plants, hornwort is among them, that are found commonly in in freshwater all over Europe and the U.S. They're very common plants. Whatever was growing in the pond out back, or the creek, or whatever, but typically that's what either some kind of wort, typically hornwort, anacaris, kabamba. Those were the first ones. Here's the thing. Our hobby has reached the level where we have access to literally every living aquatic organism on Earth.
Yeah, we do.
Virtually, it's not an absolute. There are things that are too hard to get or that are too controlled to get.
Mhm.
But in general, we can get anything from anywhere. And the industry simply is not on board with this.
Mm-hmm.
They're really not. 50 years ago, a shop was successful because it sold a lot of fish. Today, shops are shutting down everywhere, have been for decades, because the industry has been pushing dry goods so hard that that's what the average hobbyist spends the majority of their money on. They
Yeah.
buy fancy, expensive lights, all sorts of chemicals and processing systems, all kinds of arcane, unusual equipment. Just the list goes on and on and on. There are new products being manufactured every day. Now, I will grant you it's a whole lot easier to put a product on a shelf
Mhm.
and sell it than it is to put a fish in a tank and sell it. That product on the shelf is going to be there if it hasn't sold 10 years from now. And it'll be just the way it was when it was put there. Can't
Yeah,
say
well,
the same about fish. It's not true for fish. So as a result, the industry has gone wholeheartedly in the direction of outfitting the system. In other words, it has become a technological hobby, a
yeah, it has.
technologically a technologically founded hobby, where
Mhm.
technology, testing equipment, additives, fancy filters, every kind of filter imaginable, reverse osmosis and other distillation kinds of equipment, all in an effort to encourage people to spend those kinds of dollars, to spend
Mhm.
money on equipment that is easily manufactured, that there is no loss, that um, that the manufacturing industry can make money on. And the hobbyists, by and large, including even the major publications, the major tools of communication, have fallen in line with all this.
Yeah, they have.
So as a result, here's what's happened. 90, almost 99%, 95% of the ma and pa shops by number, by count, that have existed in the past are gone. They're replaced with big box stores that sell equipment and a few fish. Here in Salisbury, that's it. That's the story. That's what you get. And unless you drive 50 miles, you're not going to get anything else. There is nothing else.
Yeah, that's the way it is here too.
So here's the issue. The hobby has gone in the absolute wrong direction now for 50 years. As it has been doing that, the animal husbandry side of the industry has been chugging right along doing its thing. With the advent of better and better shipping, better and better transportation, we can now bring in fish from the Far East, from Poland, Czechoslovakia, from Israel, from Brazil, from all over the world, and have it in tanks here in our country in 2 days.
Yeah.
From the time it is pulled out by the farmer in Thailand out of their pond and taken to the distributor and shipped to us, we can have that animal in 2 days. As a result, we're getting more and better quality fish and plants than we ever have. An enormously wider variety. Some shops are beginning to capitalize on this. It is especially true in the saltwater side of the industry, where a good, strong saltwater shop will have hundreds of species of fish, hundreds of species of invertebrate, hundreds of species of coral, another invertebrate. But when I talk about invertebrates, I'm talking about crabs and shrimp and snails, those kinds of things. In addition to coral, in addition to all of the livestock support systems, such as live rock, such as natural sea salt, and on and on and on. In a good saltwater shop, you can get all that. There are very few freshwater shops where you can get all that. Mm-hmm. I'm opening a shop here in Salisbury that is going to promote the sale of substrate. Nobody sells a prepared, effective, well-developed, sophisticated substrate. That is a system. I'm going to sell that system. And I'm going to sell that system the way I've been promoting this channel as the foundation of building a natural aquarium. Now, why a natural aquarium? Because in a natural aquarium, any fish that you put into it will immediately be able to adjust to. Something may happen along the way that'll kill it. Mm-hmm. But the initial reaction of the fish in that tank will be to calm down, to look for a place to hide, to cover itself, and to check out its environment. I get people saying to me all the time, I just bought this fish and it won't eat. Well, of course not. It's not going to eat until it is absolutely comfortable and confident about where it is.
Mhm.
The first thing a fish will do when you put it in a tank is change its body pattern. It's going to lose all of its color, or it will flash a fright pattern. It'll do that in order to disguise itself, and it'll look then for a corner to hide in, a place where it can go where it is not likely to be eaten by a predator, and where he can scope out what's going on in the tank. That is the very first thing the fish does. And typically it is 2 to 3 days minimum before that fish is confident enough to come out and begin moving around. That is totally normal. Now, in a natural tank, that process is sped up much more quickly. In a matter of hours, in a natural environment that is full of plants, lots of cover, where it can move one place to another and still be under cover, still be protected, it will begin moving around because that's its normal pattern.
Mhm.
It does that. It scopes out its environment. It adjusts its body to the water conditions, including temperature, pH, everything else. It puts out hormones in the water in order to understand what's going on around it. It tastes the water to determine what's in the water with it. It does all of these things and so much more before it even begins to look for food. The last thing the fish will do is look for food after all of its other needs are satisfied, which typically is 2 to 3 days minimum. It can be up to a week or more. Until then, it will not eat because it's not a priority. Fish are born hungry. That does not mean that they eat until they are satiated. In the wild, they never do. You will never find a fish in the wild so full of food it can't swim, unless it's a big predator that's eating a monster meal. But a fish that's picking at little food, it will never grow. Its belly will never extend to the point where it becomes fat from eating. It doesn't happen. Fish are naturally hungry. They deliberately stay hungry in order to be attentive, in order not to be sluggish, in order to be able to move quickly, in order not to be encumbered by excess weight or excess energy being put into digesting a meal. Food is needed and necessary, but only in the right proportions. Think about this. A little fish, when you see it poking around on the bottom, what's it doing? It is eating micro and macrofauna. How tiny is macrofauna? How tiny?
Really tiny.
It's,
Really tiny. Microscopic.
it's tiny enough it's microscopic. It's exactly right. How many, if it eats 100 microscopic animals, 100, that would be a lot of poking around.
Yeah, I would.
How big a piece of, of, of food is that if you put a comparable
Right.
piece of food? It would be a very small single grain of food.
Mhm.
One single grain of food. One is sufficient for an entire day for a small fish. That's all it needs. So when I say you're overfeeding your fish, if you're putting 2 grains of food in per fish, you're overfeeding the fish. And here's the problem. If you're feeding every day, you're overfeeding. you're overfeeding. The fish eats it, they may eat more than they want because you're teaching them to be gluttons. You're teaching them to be pigs at the trough. So they're gobbling it up, pooping it out. What's that doing?
That's gonna raise the nitrates.
That's causing the microfauna to grow up. It's causing bacteria to grow up, other microfauna, in order to deal with that waste. So you do that. And then you do it the next day. At first, they hadn't cleaned up yet. Now you've got a second day on top of it. So more microfauna grows up, more bacteria grows up. You do it a third day. The first and the second day are not cleared out yet. Now you got a third day. It goes on and on and on to the point where at the fifth day, by the fifth day, the tank becomes cloudy because it is becoming foul from overfeeding. If your fish is not hungry, it is sick and it's going to die. And you will have caused it by overfeeding it, fouling the water, and causing it to become a pig, which its body cannot tolerate. A fish must be hungry all the time. That is its natural and its normal condition. Don't feed your fish because they're hungry. Be thankful they're hungry. That means they're healthy. A fish that is not healthy, if it's sick, if it's diseased, if it has something wrong with it, it's not going to eat. Because it's got other problems that are of a higher order, of a higher impact on the fish. I don't know how often to say this or how clear it is. How clear. I mean, I run into people all the time who are feeding their fish every day because they're hungry. It's the worst thing in the world you can do. It is the last thing in the world you want to do. Do not feed hungry fish. Don't feed them. If you have a natural environment of the type I've been teaching for years, that environment has all of the food that the fish needs living and growing in it. It's already there. Putting additional food in the tank is putting additional pressure on the biology of the system, which will result in the tank fouling and the fish dying. It happens 100% of the time. It is an absolute. It's called pollution. Pollution is what kills fish. It's what makes them sick. Fouling the tank, putting too much food in the tank. I believe every single business that produces cheap food, frankly, any kind of manufactured food, should be driven out of business because they're providing something that is not good for fish. It simply is not. Now, I feed it. I feed it because it's convenient. And because raising live food is not convenient. I feed the very best quality I can get. I feed it in very tiny increments. It ain't the right thing to do, but at least I'm careful about it.
Absolutely.
Even so, there are times when it catches up to me, when something has happened and the fish have stopped feeding on it for whatever reason, and I continue doing it, and pretty soon notice there's a problem. It'll happen in one day. It'll happen in one day. It doesn't take 5 days. It can happen in one day. Fish are not mammals. They don't operate with the same set of biological behaviors, patterns, principles, requirements that mammals do. They just don't. For one thing, they're cold-blooded, which means their metabolism adjusts to the point where they are burning virtually no calories. A fish can stand still in the water by balancing the air in its bladder and remain stationary, flicking a fin occasionally, burning a calorie a minute, 60 calories in an hour. And I dare say it can get lower than that. One grain of food has how many calories? One tiny grain of food. 500? 500 calories? I don't know.
Yeah.
Whatever it is. When a fish is in that state, it's only looking to eat to survive. Now, in the spring, when the weather is warming up, hormones are triggered in the fish that cause them to eat more heavily because there is a lot more food available. There are spring hatches of all kinds of insects. They eat more heavily. That builds egg in the females and sperm in the males, which increases the hormonal activity, leading them to spawn. Once they do, and they go through that spawning process and caring for the young, if they care for the young, or spawning time after time over a period of a month or 2 months, then the temperature changes, the water conditions change, those hormones go back into stasis, and they return to a more stable, natural kind of behavior where they only eat to survive. They don't eat to get healthy. They're already healthy. They don't need to eat to get healthy. They eat to stay healthy. And they eat only what is required. They remain hungry. They have a different metabolism. It's not like animals. It's not like dogs and cats. It's not like people. Even turtles are cold-blooded. Snakes, reptiles are cold-blooded. They do not require food every day. Feeding them every day causes them to die sooner. They do not live as long because their metabolism is burning up their body, processing all of that food. Don't feel guilty about not feeding your fish. That's stupid. They're fish, for God's sake. They're not a dog. They're not a baby human. They're fish.
Mm-hmm.
They can find food better than you can put it in there. And it'll be better for them. I want to smack people who are killing their fish by feeding them to death.
Yeah, absolutely.
Most live bearers stay smaller and prefer harder water, says Eric's son. I don't know of any live bearers, fish live bearers that are large. I don't know of any.
Yeah, I don't know of any either. I've never heard of any large live bearers.
My killifish love mealworms. Mealworms are great food. Great food. There's so many live foods you can feed. I need to get serious about this. I finally got somebody in the shop who I can teach to maintain cultures. We're doing blackworms now. We're going to do brine shrimp next, micro worm, and then Daphne and scuds. So we'll get them going so that we will have cultures of live food. And that's what they're going to be fed. That's what everything will eat. Oh, Eric's son has, what kind of Africans? You mean Umbunas or Tanganyikas? Malawi or Tanganyika? Probably Malawi's. And that's a real challenge. But it can be done. I've done it often enough. Let's see. Eric has a wrench. Oxbow. Has a wrench. YouTube just hadn't gotten around to delivering it. They use snail mail.
Right.
What do I do if my live bearers breed too much?
That's a real good question.
If they breed too much, obviously you can separate them. That doesn't always work, however, because a female can hold sperm for 3 and 4, upwards of 5 batches of fish.
Mm-hmm.
The real issue is if they're breeding too much, then you're applying standards to the fish that are not appropriate to the fish. Too much according to whom? Not according to the fish. According to whom? That's whom. Yeah, jollies are a great fish. They're a Tanganyika fish. There are, I think, 5 different species of Chilodochromys. They get 3 to 4 inches. Biggest ones I've seen were about 4 inches. Stunningly beautiful fish. Yellow and black typically with all kinds of patterning. Some are black and white. Most yellow with black patterning. Very, very pretty fish. Not all that easy to spawn. Beto is quarantining fish for ick. Do not quarantine fish for ick. That does not help get rid of ick. You can get rid of ick in a matter of minutes by doing nothing more than twisting your finger. That's all you need to do is twist your finger and the ick will be gone. And before you twist your finger, put it on the control on your heater and twist it to get the heater to heat the water to up to 86, 87 degrees Fahrenheit. That's 30 degrees centigrade. Leave it there for 4 days. The ick will drop off of the fish. In 4 days, it will die. That works 100% of the time. It does not fail. I know there are all kind of people who want to put medication in, want to put salt in, want to do this, want to do that, turn the temperature up to 86 degrees for 4 days. It will not kill the fish. It will not hurt the inverts. It will not affect the plants. It will cause no damage at all of any kind, except it will kill the ick parasite. Just
That's it.
do it. Just do it. Does anyone have a small fish type that does well in very hard water? All small fish do very well in very hard water. Mollies, of which there are an infinite variety of colors, shape, and sizes, are a brackish water fish. They do brilliantly in very hard water. Guppies the same. Platies the same. What doesn't? I don't know what doesn't.
I haven't run into any that I've had any problems with, and I've got very hard water. So,
All live bearers thrive in very hard water, up to and including brackish water. If your water is 9.0, which it is not, because it's impossible to maintain 9.0 water in a well or a muni supply system, your fish will be fine in it. Very hard water typically means anything over 7.5, upwards of 8.0. That's perfectly natural, a natural pH. Shouldn't say pH and hardness because they're not the same. Hardness of 250 ppm. 250 parts per million of minerals. Any live bearer, any cichlid will survive and thrive in that hardness. If they don't, the hardness of the water is not the issue. There are other things causing the issue, like overfeeding. Somebody got on me. Every once in a while, I get these comments. How come you keep beating the same drum all the time? How come you're saying the same thing over and over again? And really, the answer is very simple. The answer is, I'm saying the same thing over and over again because you're not listening. If you were listening, you would be hearing the other things I'm saying for those people who do listen and have gotten past that and are into the next 10, 15, 20 steps, which I do talk about. If that's all you're hearing, then you're not doing it.
that's it.
That's why you keep hearing it. Because you're a hardhead. And you're convinced what you're doing is right, even though your fish die every 3 to 6 months. Tell me I'm wrong.
You're not.
Tell me.
I've followed your method. I've had guppies that I haven't even lost any. I lost one whenever I lost a few when I first started, but that was because I got them sick from the pet store. They're fry. I followed your method and I haven't lost any. They've grown, produced more fry, and now I've got more guppies than I know what to do with. It's just really important not to overfeed them, and it's really easy for people to get caught up in, oh, I've got to feed the fish. It comes to the glass. It's begging me for food, and that's really letting your fish train you. You have to be the human, and you have to husbandry the fish appropriately.
Darwire's got an interest. No, Erickson. Erickson has an interesting observation. He said he's had his aquarium set up for a year, and his African cichlids have not grown much. Let's talk about fish growth.
Sounds good.
I was discussing a goldfish today with one of my staff. That's a 6-inch goldfish in about a 20-gallon tank. It's okay, but I have a 300-gallon tub with some larger goldfish of the same type, fancy tail goldfish, that I want to put it in. My staff person doesn't want to do it because she likes it in the smaller tank. Well, the fish is going to be stunted in a smaller tank. Here's the thing. A fish does, how can I say this? The principle that a fish grows to the size of the tank is popular wisdom. A fish will not grow larger than it can survive in a given tank because it will die. It will not be able to survive. And it may be stunted by that to the point where it's the stunting kills it. Fish that are moving around a lot, like goldfish that are on the move all the time, need to be in a larger environment in order to be able to expand to that environment, if you will, in order to be able to grow. Now, a fish like a betta, which does not move around much, is a relatively stationary fish, or an angel, which is a relatively stationary fish, or a discus, another similar stationary fish, do not need to be in very large environments. They can be in smaller environments. A small angel will do fine in a 10-gallon tank until it gets about an inch long, and then it needs to be in a bigger tank. They will get 5 to 6 inches. They get pretty good size. At that size, they still do very well in a 30-gallon, 29-gallon tank because they're not moving around a lot. They're staying essentially in one place. Their movement is oriented to seeking food typically, or moving out of the way of other fish, or interacting with their own. They move around but slowly and gently. They're not on the move all the time. A fish that's on the move all the time, like a danio, will do much better in a larger tank. If African cichlids are not growing, then because they are a fish that is constantly on the move, they're like a saltwater fish. They don't stop. They don't sit and rest. They're moving all the time. They need to be in a larger environment to be healthy and happy, to be able to move in that environment and take advantage of that environment. That's a natural kind of behavior for them, and they will grow naturally in that environment. If they're kept in too small an environment, it will certainly stunt their growth. I don't care how much you feed them. They're only going to eat what they need. They're not growing by virtue of what they're eating. They're eating by virtue of their growth. Try to get hold of that concept. We grow fat. Fish don't grow fat, at least not visibly so. They have fat, but it only reaches a certain level. I don't know what the percentage is. Probably no more than 10% of their body is in oils, in fish fat, if you will. At which point, they will stop eating and burn off that fat. They're not going to continue to eat normally, not in the wild. If you're teaching them to be pigs at the trough, to do nothing but eat and eat and eat, number one, you're not going to keep them long because they will either die of exhaustion from processing all that food or die from foul water by virtue of the inability of the tank to handle the constant increasing biomass that you're pouring into the tank by the shovelful every day. Delicacy is really the key, I think, to maintaining fish.
Yeah, it is.
And by delicacy, I mean leaving it alone, doing little or nothing, controlling yourself to appreciating what's happening in that world in there that you know absolutely nothing about, including how much nutrition it requires. Anyone who's kept fish for any length of time has had fish in a tank that they have lost track of for whatever reason and, and not fed for months at a time. And the fish have remained perfectly healthy. Perfectly healthy. Now, that doesn't happen in a bare tank. It doesn't happen in water that's so chemically treated that nothing can live in, including the fish.
Right.
It doesn't happen if you have nothing even approximating a food web. But if you do, if you've got a deep substrate, you have plants growing, you've got some leaf culture or allowing mulch to build up, then that tank is producing food that the fish in that tank will eat.
Mm-hmm.
You may not see it. You may not understand it, but it is happening nevertheless. I remember Lee's poop patrol. He tested this hypothesis a few years ago. He did not feed his fish for a lengthy period of time, at least 6 months. It seems to me it might have been a year. He watched every day to see if the fish were pooping. And they were, which means they were eating. And he wasn't feeding them. So they were eating food that tank was manufacturing for them.
Yeah, if you leave it alone, it will manufacture it for them.
I've been ranting long enough. I'm going to go turn my soup down and let you take over for a few minutes.
Okay, sounds like a plan.
You go, girl.
I'll try. Let's see what we got in the comments, guys. Let's see. Spinster Sister says, that is what I have to do. Start curtailing the feeding, although the bladder snails feed my green spotted puffers. Yeah, they love bladder snails. I've been wanting to get one, but kind of running out of room for tanks until I move some other stuff out where I can get more tanks. Let's see. Let's see what you guys are talking about in the chat. Matt 3, yes, they're eating the micro flora and the microfauna. Absolutely. Whenever you set up a natural fish tank, it kind of changes the game completely. A bare tank's just going to be chemicals and pretty much dead water. When it comes to something like this, that's live water. Because you're going to have the microflora, you're going to have the microfauna. I added some scuds and different leaves to this tank to help build the food web. And when you do that and you work on building the food web actively through building resurrection jars, getting back out into nature, and really working on making it where your tank is a part of nature, you don't have to worry about your fish. It really takes all the headache out of fish keeping. I mean, it is revolutionary way of fish keeping. With these tanks, I don't have to do water changes. Well, the one behind me, the 75-gallon on this side, I may eventually, if the water gets too dark for you guys to see the plants. But otherwise, that's just tannins. I don't have to do water changes. I just top it up. Let's see what else we got in the comments. Let's see, Sister said, I received my stem plant package in wonderful condition. Can I keep them floating until I'm ready to plant them? I figured it might be a week or more. I floated mine for a good 4 to 5 days and didn't have a problem. You just want to make sure it's fully submerged and that you're getting some light on it. At least that's been my experience. That may be something that we need to ask Father Fish on that to be sure. because a week or more, that's kind of a long time, but I think it'll be fine in all honesty. Actually, the bucket you see behind me there, I've got hornwort and anacreus floating in it. And I'm not sure where I'm going to plant it yet because I had to do a massive trimming on my 75-gallon tank. You want a plant that grows fast? Hornwort. That surprised me. I mean, every day it grew at least this much more. So it'll definitely help with the nitrates and everything else in your tank. And I think we got Father Fish back. Yeah, we got him back. How's the soup going?
Oh, I got some here. We'll let it cool off a bit. Wait,
Yeah.
my hand. What can you do about cramping? I'm getting cramping.
Oh no. I think potassium was one of the things you could take.
Bananas.
But definitely drinking more water will help. The more water you can drink, staying hydrated will help hardcore. Yeah, because I get horrible cramps if I don't drink enough water. That's one of the reasons I got one of these big 40-ounce cups. I try to drink 2 of those a day, and then I don't have any cramps in my hands or feet.
Really? That's probably exactly right. I'm probably dehydrated. I have a tendency to dehydrate.
Yeah, me too, until I discovered these things. Then I'm like, yeah.
I can't keep my fingers open.
Ooh, ouch. I hate when that happens. I've had that happen to my hand too, and
Not nice. Ooh.
Right?
What's difficult is picking up a spoon because I got to do that. Yeah. That makes it cramp. Ugh.
Ooh.
And it hurts.
Yeah, it does.
Let me get some more. I drink non-sweet tea.
Hey, there you go. And yes, Tim Pittman, drinking water helps hardcore. Actually, Neil says try pickle juice. I've never tried that for cramps.
Oh, that's interesting.
That's actually interesting. Next time I get a cramp, I'll have to try that.
How about pepper and seasoning?
I can't hear you, Father Fish. It sounds like really hardcore echo.
No, I was saying, how about pepper and seasoning?
I don't know.
But I don't have any pickles. No, I did buy some olives today.
Oh, I love olives.
All right, let me get things organized here a little bit. Betta Great Lakes, Beto. I think I have a pregnant ember tetra, noticeably big belly. If you have a group of them, you will see some with big bellies and some that are thin. The big belly ones are the females, the thin ones are the males. Tetras are an egg scatterer. Their eggs are not adhesive. That is, they don't stick to things. Like goldfish, when they lay eggs, they stick to things. There are a lot of other fish like that have eggs that stick. Tetras don't. So what you do is a simple way to do this, to spawn them and to be able to collect their eggs. Set up a small tank, 2-gallon tank, 5-gallon tank. It could be a 10-gallon tank. Put 2 layers of marbles in the bottom. 2 layers of marbles. Put the fish, no food, nothing, just bare tank. Bare tank, 2 layers of marbles. New water. No filter. Put a small group of your breeders, a male at a ratio of 1 male and 2 females, in that tank do it in the evening. Do it in the evening. The next morning, by the time you get around to looking at them, if you will take a flashlight and look under the tank, you want to set this up so you can see the bottom of it. You should see eggs. If you don't, Leave them in there another day. Do not put food in there. No food of any kind. Once you start to see eggs, after about 2 days, not 3, 2 days, take them out and wait. The babies will begin to hatch. Now, they need food right away. So to do this, you need to create either a microworm culture or a paramecium culture. Microworm culture you can buy online. It's pretty easy to get. You can do it from the wild, but it's trickier. Paramecium culture is simply a matter of putting a lettuce leaf in a jar of water and setting it in the windowsill for about 4 to 5 days. When the water gets cloudy, that cloudiness, if you look at it through a lens, it's very tiny little animals swimming around. That's paramecium. So perfect size food for these baby fish. So what you want to do then is feed them immediately. And then begin taking the marbles out. Or you can pour them out into another container if it's a larger web net that catches the marbles but not the babies. You do that very gently. You can pour them into another container, sift out the marbles, and then begin feeding them. You want to put a sponge filter in that tank. A sponge filter, preferably an aged one. Although it can be brand new, it's okay. You want it bubbling but not hard. You don't want creating a lot of current because the babies have to be able to swim around and see the food in front of their nose. If they don't see it in the front of their nose, it doesn't exist. They can do this much. They can't even move forward much, not initially. So the food's got to be virtually in their mouth, which means you need enough in there to be able to provide that level. With this tiny microscopic food, you can do that. It's not tricky to do. After 2 or 3 days, then you could begin doing small water changes. You want to siphon any waste that's on the bottom. Siphon that up with a 1/4-inch tube. Begin adding a little more water to it from whatever your source is. Don't add new tap water. Do source water, like from a fish tank. Water that's aged and water that's healthy. Do fish tank water in with them. Continue feeding them for a week to 2 weeks. They will get big enough in 2 weeks that you will be able to put them then in a small natural aquarium that will have adequate food in it for them. Now, the alternative to that system is to build a food web in the tank 1 inch deep. That means leaves and mulch, broken down material that is 1 inch deep. The fish will naturally spawn in it. In fact, they will go down into it to spawn. The eggs will hatch. Microfauna rarely will eat an egg, or macrofauna rather. The eggs will hatch. Those that will hatch. The babies will stay down in there and will find adequate food to be able to grow. You will begin seeing small fish popping up out of this food web. It will happen very naturally. And it's a wonderful way to be able to keep a community of fish. Now, you don't want it so heavily populated that anything that sticks its head out gets eaten instantly.
Mm-hmm.
You want to give them a chance.
Absolutely.
But those are 2 ways you can hatch out and raise baby tetras. Really not hard to do at all. It's just a matter of making sure they have adequate food, and the natural aquarium provides that automatically.
Mm-hmm. I'm really glad that question was asked because I really want to try breeding my ember tetras and green neon tetras. So that was a really good question.
Alrighty.
Oh, and NC, Pleco Farmers, he says that in Utah there's actually a fish store that's doing the father fish method
Where?
in Utah.
Oh, really? Oh, that's wonderful.
Yes.
Well, tell
He
him
said,
if he goes back there, tell him I'd love to support them.
absolutely.
We can do a show from there or something.
That would be cool.
Not bad, guys. Not bad.
It turned out good.
Not bad. That's tasty stuff.
Hey, that's good.
Chicken. I bought a roasted chicken. Boned it, threw it in the pot, cut up some stalks of celery, spring onion, yellow pepper and a green pepper, the hot spicy pepper. What else? Corn. I cut the kernels off 2 ears of corn. I put some soy in it and some chicken bouillon, the jar bouillon. I don't know, that's got wonderful stuff, amazing stuff. I own every one they make. The chicken bouillon, I got a big tablespoon of that. More peppers. What else? I did not put a garlic in. Didn't want to fool with it. It's not. I don't think it misses it.
Yeah, and everybody's loving that spoon. That is so cool. You never see wooden spoons anymore.
Oh, I love it. Yeah. It's a little tricky. Wonderful. All right.
Yeah,
Nice.
everybody in the comments, I think they want that spoon.
Really. I got the spoon along with an entire kit of wooden utensils on Amazon for about $20.
Oh, wow.
It's got
That's pretty cool.
6 or 8 different utensils. They're wonderful. They're all like a foot long. It's a great buy. And I should find a link and post it.
Yeah, there's a bunch of people in the comments that's going, I want that spoon.
Well, easy enough to get. They're not expensive.
Yeah, and it's way easier than the time I tried making one. Because one Christmas I got a wood carving kit where you can carve a spoon. Yeah, that's not as easy as it says on YouTube. That is not something easy to do.
Adam's mom used to whack him with a spoon.
It happens. It just means she loves you.
I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm making up some very small father fish decals, half-inch and 1-inch decals, little tiny ones that we're going to use to make jewelry.
Oh,
But
that's going to be cool.
I think I'm also going to attach them to wooden spoons, fish
That would
nets,
be awesome.
whatever.
Yeah.
I'm going to do a line of father fish products with the father fish logo on it.
This comment's got me tickled, Fatherfish. This is funny. RGR Nature. You ought to auction that spoon off to the highest bidder.
Oh, that's funny.
Everybody's loving that.
All right. I'm going to go find it and bring the link back.
Yeah.
Amazon. Wooden spoon. Well, there it is. Popped right up. Let's see if I can find the one I want. I think wooden spoons for cooking. 10 pieces. Utensils. $44. There should be a better deal. Here's some wooden spoons. $4 each. This one for $5. This is the one, though. Here it is. Here it is. Limited time deal. 6 wooden spoons. I don't know what size they are. Let's see. 6 wooden spoons marked down from $21.41. 57% off for $9.29.
Hey, that's pretty good.
Time offer. Let's see what size they are. 6 cookings. Additional details. You got to do additional details to get.
Oh yeah.
They don't. I'm not showing the size.
If it's on, when you buy on Amazon, you never know. If you don't read the details, it could be a spoon this big or this big.
I know. I want to buy a bunch of them, but I don't want to buy them if they're going to be 6 inches long. From a small business brand, report an issue, see all reviews. Let's see what the reviews are. Great price. Liked it. Looks good, works well. Didn't expect. Current supply. Thick without coating. Well, these are Riviera bamboo. Sturdy. On the whole, they're nice. Good length and good heft. Okay. That works for me. Well, here's the one I bought. It is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 different spoons for $32. That's
That
the
ain't
one.
bad.
Now, wait a minute. No, I'm wrong. It's not the one I bought. Well, there's a set of 4 for $25. It is the one I bought. We're close to it. $44 for 10 pieces. Here's another one, 9-piece for $28. Bamboo forks. Don't want that. Let's see. Here's one, 7 pieces for $23. I think I need to get this 9 deal. Where is it?
Yeah, everybody likes that spoon enough that they're starting to place bids.
6 or 9. Maybe I ought to just get spoons. So 6 or 9. Tell you what, I'm going to buy 4 of these. With a cart, quantity. Let's see, cart. Quantity. Why can't I change it? Here, share. No, it's not letting me change the quantity. That's bizarre.
Beto Great Lake says a spoon that can double as hardscape for your tank.
Right. That's true. I can't do
That
it.
would kind of look cool.
I can't do it. Won't let me do it. Lightning deal, $9.29. Number of pieces 6. Add to list. Go to cart. Why won't it let me? It will only sell me one set.
Oh, because the lightning deal. Yeah.
That's weird, isn't it?
Yeah, they've gotten more with the lightning deals. They'll usually cap it at between 1 and 3.
Yeah. Well, I'm not gonna buy it. Phooey on them. They lost
Oh,
my. They lost my business. If I can't buy it, if it doesn't, I don't want them.
Right, you sound like me the other day. I forgot what I found on Lightning Deal. I was wanting it until they would not let me get at least 6. And I'm
Right.
like, nope. That's it. Nope.
Right. Lucky bamboo immerse. I don't do much. I don't do much in the way of emergent plants, and they're primarily because I like to cap my tanks. I not only cap my substrate, I cap the tank. And the only reason I do that, other than to prevent fish from jumping out, is to control evaporation.
Yeah.
This is really good.
Hey,
Oh.
that's awesome.
I just figured out what it was.
Mhm.
I added a whole bunch of the oregano 5 spice.
Ooh, I've got to get some of that.
What about a teaspoon in? It has a nutmeggy kind of taste to it.
Yeah, I'm going to have to try making your soup because that sounds good.
Mm.
Oh, and Stan Pittman, that is awesome that the hornwort is thriving in your turtle tanks. That's awesome.
Yeah, somebody was talking about stem plants and floating them. By and large, stem plants do very well floated. Indefinitely. You can float them indefinitely. You can't do that with rooted plants because the roots will die. The roots need to be in substrate. So if you need to hold rooted plants, just put an inch of sand in the bottom of wherever you're keeping them, and stick them down in that sand. It will keep the root healthy. The root will continue to grow and thrive. So when you pull it out to plant it, it'll be in pretty good shape. What are you guys going on about?
They're just wanting you to talk to them.
You need soup.
Right. They smelt the soup and they're like, hey, don't forget about us.
They probably would eat it, actually. Dana's a mermaid. Yeah, I think it's probably true, actually.
Well, you guys found me out. Shoot. Don't tell anybody.
Dina has the heart of a mermaid.
Thanks, guys. Well, that gives me an idea for merch for my channel. I'll just do mermaid merch.
Oh, that's a good idea. You won't be the first, but you might be the best. Jacques Jecker broke a glass top for his aquarium. For nearly all aquariums, if you can locate a source for refrigerator shells, the glass refrigerator shelf, it is 3/8 inch thick tempered glass that has a rim, plastic or metal rim built around it. And if you're able to get to a place where they're disposing of refrigerators, you can get it free to cheap to nothing. It is absolutely wonderful as a cover for a fish tank. Maybe a little big, but there isn't anything safer. You can drop it, they won't break. You're not going to cut yourself on it because it's got a rib. It's made to be safe, to be safe in the refrigerator. It's probably, if you had to buy it, it'd be $50. It'd be really expensive to buy that. You can get them free. If you
Yeah,
can
that's what I've
find
been on the lookout for.
Yeah, it's something you need to. It's something you need to look for and keep an eye out for. If you see a refrigerator dumped alongside the road that somebody's getting rid of, check and see if it's got the shelves in it and take them.
Yeah,
If it's gone to the dump, take the shelves.
absolutely.
Absolutely wonderful.
Yeah, I've been on the lookout every time we haul off garbage because I know the guy at the dump. I'm like, and I've been looking, waiting. Is there any refrigerator shelves?
Even the plastic ones are good
Yeah.
quality because they're made to carry a lot of weight and to be abused.
You know, you ought to do a video, Father Fish, on how you make your soup because everybody's wanting the recipe. Next time you make soup, you got to get your camera in there.
Good idea. I've been wondering what I should do.
Yeah.
Yeah, a little small doesn't work, and they want a little bigger. Little small. I've got one here that's a little small. It only covers like 2/3, a little more than half of my tank. So I've got a piece of plastic for the rest of it. It's not perfect, and I haven't been able to find another one to put here, but that would be ideal. That's why I'm getting evaporation because I get too big a gap with this plastic. It's plastic going bonkers in here. I think I'm going to pull out the corkscrew. Corkscrew is just amazing. And I've got some here. Lord,
This took it off.
yeah, it's 2 feet long.
Mm-hmm.
I think actually it's sad. It's not corkscrew. It might be velvet, but I think it's sad. I need to pull that out. What is that? Oh, it's a fish I haven't seen before.
Oh, nice.
A little striped fish. Who in the world is he? He just hid. He went behind the plant.
I can't see it on my end.
There he is. He just came out. The creventus have been spawning in here. There he is. What is that? Oh, I know what it is. It's a bluefin killer.
Oh,
It's a bluefin killer.
that's cool.
It looked like it had 2 stripes on it.
Mm-hmm.
I guess it did. Mango brain. Plastic. Yeah, Plexi is good. I use a lot of Plexi. I bought boxes of the corrugated clear plastic that's 2 foot by 4 foot sheets that are used in greenhouses. It's fairly flexible, very inexpensive, and that's currently what I'm covering my aquariums with. Eventually, I'll probably get something better, but it's really pretty convenient because it's very light and easy to handle. I can cover the tanks perfectly, and then when I want to get into them, I just pick it up, toss it anywhere. It doesn't break. It's not heavy. It's not an inconvenience at all, and it does a pretty good job of staying level. The corrugation helps to keep it flat, so it's pretty good. What lens do I recommend? Bella wants to know what lens I recommend. 10x is adequate. just a regular little hand magnifying glass. Small jeweler's loupe will work. Huh. Angelfish world. Is it possible for snails to carry eggs on their shell? Yeah, but they probably didn't put them there. They were probably put there by a ram's horn snail or a bladder snail or a pond snail, something like that.
Yeah, I've never run into mystery snails carrying their eggs. I've never run into that. So yeah, I totally agree.
Yeah, well, it would not be a mystery snail.
Yeah.
A mystery snail lays lays its eggs in a case above the water level. It looks for all the world like a mud dauber's nest, except it's not made out of mud. It's made out of the snail's mucus, but it's the same color. It's kind of a light brown color. And when the babies hatch, they fall into the water. Dragonstone, talking about water changes, talking to Mango Brain thing, ask them when the last time they saw a water change in a pond, stock tank, or lake. Think about this a minute. Let's get your mental processes working here. A river. We have a river. River is 1,000 miles long. You say the water in the river never changes. And they say it changes minute to minute, second to second. Look at it going by. It's different water every time. And you say, no, it is the identical same water flowing through every minute of every hour of every day. There is no difference unless something remarkable happens upstream that changes it. Here's the thing. The river is flowing. As it flows, it picks up things. May pick them up in suspension, may dissolve them. It picks them up. When it flows by a given point, it has everything it has picked up along the way getting there. The water coming behind it is exactly the same. The water downstream from it is different based on what it has picked up and dissolved in that distance frame. It's not a time frame. It's in the difference in the environment that's passing through. It's not going to be much because it's flowing all the time. So there is not going to be substantial change, but there will be some change. The water in one spot will be different from the water 100 miles downstream. That will not be the same because it will have picked up and dissolved the material flowing into it or dissolved out of it along that 100-mile stretch. But the water at any one point, as it flows past that point, is precisely identical to the water coming into that point. There is no difference. And so the water literally never changes. It is always absolutely the same in that specific environment as it was the day before, the week before, the month before. Unless, as I say, something dramatic changes upstream to make a difference in that flow. But if nothing dramatic, nothing substantial happens, it will be the same water flowing by the same point. If you envision that point as a fish tank, the water in that fish tank never changes. The fish and other animals living in that specific environment are living in water that never changes. Never. Oh, but you say it rains. Yes, it does. And where does that rain come from? It comes from the sun evaporating water, H2O, from the river, taking it into the sky, turning it into rain, and bringing it back down. It's cycling the same water. What it takes out is what it puts back in. It is not different. The rainwater is not different from what the sun has taken out. It is the same water that was taken out is being returned. Does that flush it? Not really. It's the same water. It's not different. Even the water in a river at a given place does not change. So the notion that water has changed all the time in nature, sure, over the long haul it is. But our tanks are not living over the long haul, nor are any animals living in that river, living from one end of it to the other. They're living in a specific place in that river. And the water in that place never changes. If you get that, then you get to graduate to, that's not diploma level, but it's close. Might put you in a senior class. It's not yet graduate level. To get to graduate level, you have to understand the hormonal activity between the water and the fish and the bacteria in the water and the plants in the water. They're all releasing hormones. Those hormones are all acting on each other and causing changes to occur in each of the organisms. Getting a hold of that is understanding what living water means, because that water is quite literally alive.
Yeah,
Living
it is.
What are we doing here?
Yeah, just looking over the comments real quick.
Yeah, what's in there?
Let's see. Beto Great Lakes says I added a little rainwater in my tank, and I suspect that it killed my scuds, but I don't know for sure.
Not likely.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. What else we got?
This is the first time I've used the 5 spice.
Yeah? Where'd you get it?
Chinese Oriental grocery. Let me tell you what it is.
Yeah, I definitely want to get some. Let's see what we got in the comments here. Florida tap water has crushed lime bits in it. Yum.
Oh!
That's funny how. Yeah.
It's
The next
called
time we go in the city, I'm getting some of that.
it's called 5-spice powder. Nice stuff.
Yeah.
It has a very unique flavor. Let's see if I can read it. Hunan chicken. It's a recipe on it for Hunan chicken. I don't think it says what the spices are in my. Oh, here. Yeah, it does. It has fennel seed, star anise, ginger, cloves, and cinnamon.
Nice.
Got a sweet, spicy flavors.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah, that's
common. Now the other spice I really like are the curry powders,
mm-hmm.
the Indian curry powders. The Indian food is probably the oldest sophisticated cuisine in human culture.
Yeah, isn't their civilization one of the oldest civilizations?
Oh, it is.
I was
Yeah.
thinking it was.
They documented it back about 15,000 years.
Wow.
And the cuisine has been developed for that length of time, so it's very sophisticated flavors. Nothing really comparable to it. Even Chinese really is not comparable to it.
Yeah. Actually, I think the new restaurant that opened up in town is an Indian cuisine restaurant. I'm gonna have to go by there and try it.
If they're doing a good job, it'll be wonderful.
Yeah. I'll probably wait a few weeks and read the reviews to see first.
We have two of them here. One is really excellent, but it's kind of a seedy, dumpy place. It's really carry out. And it's in an old big warehouse kind of place. So it doesn't even look like a restaurant. It's really not. The other is a storefront restaurant with horrid food.
Hmm. Yeah, it can be hit or miss.
Let's see. Can you get 4-spice unlike cinnamon? Get over yourself. I mean, come on, really. I don't like that. I don't like that. Learn to like it. Try it. You'll love it. I don't like that. Can you change it? Just 5,000 years of culinary history. Can you just change it a little? I don't like that.
That was good.
Not to beat you down. You just stuck your foot in it. Was all. 5-spice goes with duck. Huh? Yeah, it certainly does. It's wonderful with duck. Cuts the greasiness of duck. Indian spices are magical. They really are. Oh, there's
they are.
Adam, have you been to the Indian restaurant in Venice? It is amazing. It's authentic cuisine done in a very refined environment. It's just lovely. It's right on Venice Avenue. No, not Venice Avenue. It's on Route 40. Just before I think you get to Venice Avenue, across the street from the Publix. What's it near? It's near Venice Avenue, and I don't remember the name, but I think there's only one. Hopefully, they're still there. I've been going for 2 years.
Hopefully they are. I know in Jacksonville there's an amazing Thai food restaurant called the Blue Lotus.
Excellent.
Oh, their food is so good.
There's
Everything
a
you
Thai,
order there is good.
yeah, there's a Thai restaurant on Venice Avenue, right across the street from where my old shop was. Both of those restaurants have special dishes. Oh, their chef has gone the extra mile to prepare uniquely delicious dishes. I've been to a number of Thai restaurants, and that's really one of the few that I like. Most of them just really don't have decent cooks. I actually went into one recently that was completely inedible. It
Oh
was
no.
done so poorly that the meat was like hard rubber. It was
Ooh.
just dreadful. But that's not a cuisine issue. That's a chef issue.
Yeah.
Beto likes cayenne. I do
Cayenne
too.
pepper is good.
Is the Indian civilization older than African, or are they comparable? They're not at all comparable. The Indian civilization is a far more complex culture than the African cultures are. African cultures, I don't know how to say this. For one thing, they don't have written languages that are very old. As a result, they have no retained history. Their history is all word of mouth. In India, the language has been written for 3,000 to 4,000 years, a little longer even. But Judaism is not as old.
Wow.
Judaism is about 3,000 years written language. The Indian language is about 4,000, and maybe 5, but it goes back at least 4. Here's an interesting thing. The Indian religion is Hinduism.
Mm-hmm.
The religion of China is Buddhism. They're very different from each other.
Yeah, absolutely.
Buddhism is an ethical cultural system. Buddha was not considered to be God, but was considered to be a highly evolved creature, a highly evolved human. Hinduism is a pantheon of countless gods and goddesses. And there is, much like ancient Greek history, an oral tradition of those gods and goddesses' lives bringing about culture. Now, as I say, it's ancient. It's probably every bit as. Now, you know what it is? It's older than Judaism. It's older than monotheism.
Wow.
One of the tribes of Israel during the diaspora went to India, who I have a friend who is a Maib, you know Maib,
Hmm.
who's active in our show. She is of that tribe,
Oh, wow.
which when they settled in India and were there for 1,000 years, and then they became um, they left in they migrated out of India and became the what were referred to in Europe and Asia as the gypsies. They
Oh,
are the
wow.
they are the gypsy people whose heritage is Judaism. They're a lost tribe of Israel.
So that's really cool. I never knew that.
You know, it's amazing to hear her
Yeah,
talk.
it is.
Just remarkable. I would love to. This is well, I don't want to go into a remarkable person. I'll leave it at that. Anyway, I don't know what all of that pertains to. Impersonations are funny. Thraciensis. And our Brewster says aloud, no! What does he know it? Oh, Daniel saying is the Indian civilization older than African. Yet Adam saying, no! And Beto is saying, I'm a mockingbird. That's funny. Armbruster, Tika, Tikka, Tikka. It's a rifle. Tikka rifle. What else is Tikka? Let's see. That's a single shot bolt action. What is a tikka? Meaning of chicken tikka is tikka or curry. Tikka, yes, it's a curry. It's a curry dish, tikka masala, served in a brown or spicy red sauce. Tikka masala, right? Tikka.
It sounds good.
I lost it that quick. India, Sailor Red reminds us that India is a country, Africa is a continent,
Mhm.
comprised of many countries, as it turns out. Forgets about the Egyptian Empire. Hmm.
There is a lot of countries in Africa.
The Egyptian Empire, that's interesting. That's 3 to 4,000 years.
Mhm.
But the Egyptian Empire was built upon an earlier empire that we know nothing about.
Mhm.
We know there we have some remnants. The Sphinx is one such. Was built by an earlier culture than the Egyptians, and we know that because it has been traced to an era roughly 10,000 years ago. Uh,
I always thought the Sphinx was so interesting, especially since modern people didn't build it. I mean, it's an ancient culture that we know nothing really about that built it. It's like a mystery.
Drecon says the Hebrew faith from the Creator should be the oldest faith. it is monotheistic. Well, no, there were faiths before monotheism. Animism, which is the most ancient of faiths, the belief that that gods or spirits that live in animate objects like trees, the sun, the moon, stars, mountains, and so forth. The animists are probably the most ancient of the believers. That culture probably is most ancient in among the Aborigines of Australia. Their culture is older even than I think. Am I right? Yes, even older than like South American animism, and even older than than African animism.
Yeah. And Dumpa, he's got a point. What's it called? I can never pronounce this right. Tepe in Turkey. They're saying that it's at least 11,500 years old. So I wonder if that would be maybe one of the first structures, maybe. Have you heard of that place? It's really
Yeah,
amazing.
they found another one even older that goes back 15,000 years. There was
Wow.
the flood stories are really the key to understanding that. The flood stories are universal, and the geologists have proven the flood, and the flood really was worldwide.
Yeah, it's in every myth around the world. Yeah.
It submerged vast continents and obliterated the culture and history that occurred that have been developed up to that point. Completely wiped it out to the point where we have only vague memories of, and a few. It probably is the reason El Peque, what's it called? El Teque was buried to protect it from the flood.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense. Because, yeah, when they discovered it, it was completely buried, just one little spot sticking up. And now it's a whole complex. One day I would love to visit there.
Exactly, Teque, right. Gobekli Tepe. We're right. We know so little about history.
Yeah, we do.
Human beings have been in their current form for at least 200,000 years and probably closer to 1,000,000 years.
Wow.
In our current form with our current brain.
Mm-hmm.
We have developed the current technology has been developed since the mid 1800s. That's less than 200 years. In less than 200 years, all of the advanced technology that exists today did not exist 200 years ago. We've been capable of doing that based on essentially a starting point of nothing up to where we are. We have no way of knowing what could have occurred in human history 100,000 years ago.
Yeah, absolutely. It'd be nice to know, though.
No way of knowing. How would we even find out? I think
Right? It'd be impossible.
yeah, we need to learn how to go back in time somehow.
Right. That's it.
Somehow. Well, somebody said aliens built it. We are the aliens. We are the aliens that built such things. It's Mikey P. says, "What's up, Grabs? I just got off work, picked up a vampire shrimp. Have you ever kept one?" I certainly have. They are an amazingly stable animal. They require no assistance, no guidance. They will remain hidden for the most part. They like settling on sponge filters. Put a sponge filter in there. They are a filter feeder, so they will feed on the microfauna sw- that swarm around that sponge filter. Amazing stuff. Christian saying freedom made it possible. Yeah, I think that's absolutely right, Christian. I think they're. I think that overcoming tyranny, overcoming authoritarianism, overcoming tyrannical government, overcoming tyrannical religion, for that matter, creates an environment in which it's possible for human beings to be creative. If you look back simply just the last 50 years, in the last 50 years, globally, not just here, but globally, 50 to close to 100 years, if you look at China, for example, it would be like 70 years plus. There has been a movement toward enslavement, toward dumbing down, toward oppression, toward dominant authoritarian government, toward the breakdown of morality and the breakdown of culture. All of that's been going up, and it's coming to a head. It's coming to crisis. In China watchers are saying that the CCP cannot survive very much longer because it has completely broken faith with the people. It has become so obscenely oppressive that its corruption is out of control and rampant. They are finding human teeth in food products.
Wow.
They're processing human bodies and feeding it to the people. That level of obscenity, that level of just of gross contempt for life, for dignity, for anything of any value. If you look at the woke movement is the stepchild of Marxism, and it's predicated on breaking down traditional morality, of creating chaos, creating an environment in which anything goes. That's done for the purpose of establishing authoritarian regimes, of establishing rigid authoritarianism. There is a what's the word I want? A kickback, a feedback, a throwback. There is a rejection of that is gaining steam and gaining power and gaining authority, both here in China, in Europe, elsewhere. What's happening in Great Britain right now with the riots is precisely that. It is the people rising up against their government for breaking faith with them. In Great Britain, of all places.
Yeah, never thought I'd see it happen in Britain.
The heartland of Western civilization.
Absolutely.
And the people are rising up against the government. We see it here in our own way. In China, it has reached a level where Xi Jinping has disappeared. and all of his top
Really?
leaders have disappeared. They have not put in public
Wow.
appearances now for a month or more. There are rumors
Wow.
of him being sick and dying. And the people are rising up. The people are becoming overwhelmed with their contempt for the way they're being treated. When that happens, there is a return to foundational principles. The foundational principles are precisely what we're teaching here with natural aquariums. And here's the link. Creation, nature, the world, reality is one thing. It is not chaos. It is harmony. It is the ability of each element to be in a symbiotic relationship with each other element. Now, we have difficulty seeing that and understanding that because we die. And we think of death as the end of life, and it is not. Death is the beginning of life. Without death, there is no life. And so death and life are one. Learning to live with death is foundational to a religious faith, to a belief in something greater than, something absolute, something true and unchanging, something that is foundational. When you take away the foundational, you are left with chaos. We have been living in an increasing chaos on this earth now for far too long. And we are returning to foundational principles, to an understanding of the nature of reality as something that is real, something that is solid, something that is true and unchanging. There are variations everywhere, but the foundational principles are absolute. That's what our little aquariums are all about. Understanding the nature of reality. And so we are doing our part to return our culture to its roots, its foundation, its principles on which all things can be built. There can be no freedom without that.
Absolutely.
There is no freedom in chaos. There is only slavery in chaos. Because there is no ability to build, to create, to do anything other than be destroyed. What was that? What was that? Was that you?
Yeah, my phone keeps going off. I probably just turned the sound off on it. But yeah, you're right.
The Recensius, that's nonsense. Utter nonsense. Women were not barefoot and pregnant before liberation. Women owned more property than men in the 1800s. Judaism is founded upon a matriarchy. Women pass down heritage. They pass down culture. They own property, all of it, not some of it. That's utter nonsense. The reality is that prior to the advent of our technology, everyone but for a rare few lived in abject poverty. Men and women struggled together, carrying immense loads that we are unconscious of because we have become so lazy and indolent. There was no keeping women in their place. The place of women was the superior place because it kept men alive. Without women, there was no life for men because they could not do it all, nor could women do it all.
Preach it, Father Fish.
Don't be a fool. Don't believe the lies that are told to you. They are lies from the pit of hell. They are lies. Don't be duped by lies and fraud and those who would have you sacrifice everything of any value for the sake of what? What? Precisely what? Hello, Wendy. Painting with Wendy. Divide and conquer, says Alana. When it's divide and conquer, it is chaos.
Yeah.
It is evil. It is Satan dominant. And if you think there is no hell, then you must also believe there is no heaven. And if there is no heaven and there is no hell, then all there is chaos.
Yeah.
Too much food makes Father Fish angry. I love it.
I like Father Fish 2024. I'd vote for you.
Well, it got cold, but it's still good.
That's when you know it's some really good soup. When you can eat it cold, you know it's good.
Oh, it's really good. That's about the best I've done. Men think they own the world. I don't know men. I don't know any men who do. I really don't.
Yeah, same here.
I don't know any men who think they own the world. I think I know some women who think men own the world because they're too lazy and irresponsible to do what they know how to do and to do it well.
That's
Women
pretty
know how
much
to raise children. Men don't know how to raise children. What is raising children all about? It is creating the next generation. It is making a culture something wholesome and healthy and dignified, principled, of value, of decency, respectful, joyous.
Mhm.
Without women, there's none of that. Men don't give a rat's ass about that. Men are into doing things. That's it.
Spencer Sister said, preach it, Father Fish.
Yeah.
Yes, Stan, he did pick the wrong VP. He could have picked Father Fish. I mean, seriously. I can't point because this new web camera is crazy, but.
Cellaret says no more wooden spoon during the show. Still working on the soup. Yeah. Oh, God, it's so good.
You've got to do a video where you record making that soup where all of us can try it.
It's a little spicy. A lot of brats, $4.99. Jack Dempsey digging solution, maybe 8th grade. That works. That's good. Worried about him destabilizing the tank. I tell you, I really like the egg crate idea. I think it's brilliant.
Mhm.
I've never used it, but I've seen it, and I'm gonna have to do it. I've got a pair of Severums right now. They're tearing up a 40-gallon tank. They're down
Yeah.
to the glass, and I think I might do that. I think I
Yeah,
would
try it and see.
swirl it. They pick it up by the mouthful. They move mountains by the
Yeah,
mouth,
they do.
and an egg
Yeah,
crate would prevent that. But
yeah, what?
I'll tell you what I didn't. As much as I know, I'm still stupid. I know why they're doing it. They're doing it to cut down the hardscape so they can lay their eggs. So I said, well, I've got a rock sitting right there like that. And
Mhm.
they're not laying eggs on it. They're just digging away. The rock fell over finally,
Oh no.
and now they have a hardscape. And they stopped digging.
They were
Imagine.
digging to make the rock fall over, weren't they?
No, I don't think they're that clever, but
That's
it
some big.
happened. It certainly happened. Maybe they did. Maybe. Who's to say? I mean, they understand what they're doing. I don't understand what they're doing.
Yeah, when you showed me a video of what they were doing, I'm like, okay, I've never seen fish do this before. They're building a mountain.
They take it over. They pick up a mouthful, take it over to a specific spot in the corner of the tank, and spit it out. The same identical spot in the corner of the tank. So there's this huge hill of sand flowing halfway up the tank down to the bottom. Here's what's interesting. That's a dirted tank. The water is not dirty. The water is clear. That dirt that they picked up and deposited on that hill is capped by their action with sand, thereby preventing it from getting into the water column. They're keeping it clean. They're not letting the dirt foul the water.
That's pretty cool. But yeah, you can get the egg crate really cheap on Amazon. I've been trying to work on building paludarium stuff with it. You should check on there
You know,
if you ever want to try it out.
it is grating that's sold as drop ceiling panels for lighting.
Hmm.
That's where it comes from.
Didn't know that. That's pretty cool.
So you can get it in Lowe's, Home Depot. Erie says I gave my aquarium the best 2 inches that ever got. I dare say, Erie. I dare say. Thank you, Alana. I did not tag Alana. Let me do that. Thank you, Alana, very much for your $4.99 super chat. That's very kind of you. I appreciate it. Oh dear, what are we doing? We're down. We got 5 minutes. We're down to 7:55. We have done.
Wow, that went fast.
We haven't done a thing tonight. Let's look at something. What do we got? We got a rooted plant deal. 18, get this, 18 varieties of rooted plants, including swords, vallisneria, Sagittarius, cryptocoryne, and choice. Choice could be hairgrass. It could be any number of other rooted plants. Amazing deal. Specialty plant pack. Now here's one that will knock your socks off. This is 18 species of high-end, unique plants. You get a minimum of 3 views, actually more. 3 species of views, 2 or 3 of each species. And that only counts as 3, not 6. You get a nubius, a minimum of 3 species. You get, 5 species, sorry. 5 species of Anubias, 5 species of bulbs, including Madagascar lace and tiger lotus, 3 species of views, and uncommon ferns such as bulbitis and Thor's hammer when it is available. That pack is designed for advanced hobbyists. These are not plants that get buried in the sand. They get attached, for the most part, to hardscape. Some are floaters. And there are others that will become part of that pack as they come available. There are some things like Susfoster that I'm trying to find, have not been able to get in large enough portions to be able to sell, that I very much want to be able to include, and other such items. It's a remarkable package. Let me say one more thing about the plants before we leave you this evening. Approximately 1 out of 100 orders go south. The Postal Service loses them, or take an extra week to deliver them, or smash them, or do some other dastardly deed to the dear and precious plants. They also do not make good on their damage. Nevertheless, it is Father Fish's joy and privilege to provide to you an absolute guarantee that you will receive healthy, growing plants. So if that package fails and you document it properly, we will replace it and only ask that you cover the cost of shipping, which will be either $10 for 2 to 3 day shipping or $25 if you want it overnight. So we invite you. We even have a package of stem plants, 16 bunches, 16 different species for $49.95. Now, free shipping is available on orders of $50. So you need to spend another nickel, and we don't have anything for sale for a nickel, but we do have things for sale for $2 or $4 or $5. Add one more little item, and you will get free shipping, a $10 value with your stem plant deal. Get the order in tonight. We'll be packing out Monday and Tuesday. Most orders that come into us by the weekend are shipped by Wednesday at the latest. Occasionally, if we are short an item, it may tie us up for another day or two. We tend not to ship on Thursday because we don't want the plants tied up for a long weekend at the post office. We will ship on Friday for Monday delivery. We will ship overnight on Thursday for delivery Friday or sometimes Saturday. The post office does not guarantee overnight in more difficult to reach areas, but they do guarantee second day delivery. Well, they provide it. They guarantee nothing.
Right.
Nothing. I received a package of supplement back yesterday. It was in my mailbox. a beat up package, the likes of which you've never seen before, that was shipped in May
Wow.
and was returned yesterday. So they don't have to make good on it
That's insane.
because they returned it for no apparent reason other than it got lost. When that happens, you will receive your product. It will be in good condition, we guarantee it. We ask only that you help us with the shipping. If you are not able to, we will do it anyway. But we do ask for that help as we suffer the indignity of being abused by the United States Postal Service. So there you have it all. We're down to it. Down to it, we are. We need to play.
Little fishes, as they swim about their
Good night, all.
home.
Love
Good
you
night,
all.
you guys.
Love my
Love
little
y'all.
fishes,
Let me turn the
as they
volume
swim about their home.
down a little so we can
When
talk.
the sunlight shines upon them,
Nice to be with you.
and their
Been
colors
an unusual but interesting evening.
It's been really interesting.
Love you all. See you
Love
Wednesday
y'all.
on the show and tell. Make sure you get your plan over it. Love you all. Bye for now.
I love my little fishes as they swim about their home. I have traveled the world over, but never found a peace that comes from watching my fishies as they swim about their home. My heart is happy and I am content to sit and watch them swim. I will not be alone while these fishies are in my home. When the sunlight shines upon them and their colors begin to glow, I am drawn into a world where my heart longs to go. I imagine scenes of beauty and feel the warmth of love. I love my little fishes as they swim about their